live in a world where we get constantly bombarded with perspectives, teachings and points of view. What to believe, who to listen to. Here, I will provide some alternative perspectives. Here, you are encouraged to check for yourself, form your own informed opinions and make up your own mind. From the spiritual to the mundane, join me every week as I dive into some of the biggest and smallest issues facing us all. Hello and welcome to the vodcast of Laird John. Even though I agree that we should be doing something about the environment and protecting the planet that we all share and live on, I would really like to know why anyone at all with any brains in between their ears gives any credence to the environmental terrorism that's going on at the moment, where people are committing what amounts to disgusting acts in the name of their cause. So now what I want to do in this podcast is take a little look at that. All right, so this is something from the Mail Online, and I've just come across this story, and it is about a particular young lady called Maggie Budd, a 21-year-old former medical student, who, according to this article, carried out a shocking stunt where excrement went on memorial. Basically, this particular story is, the coming from the response from her own father, who says, apparently, I feel sick with shock. I'm ashamed of her. Father of eco-zealot 21 who poured feces on a Captain Sir Tom Moore memorial reveals she's gone rogue after dropping out of medical school to become a full-time activist. And so this story, now, if you happen to be watching the video as opposed to listening to the podcast, you'll be looking at an image now of Maggie Budd pouring the excrement all over this Tom Moore statue, and I just don't get it. I actually don't get where this person is coming from. I don't understand what's going on inside the brain of someone who does something like that. It kind of echoes another story that I don't have information on it right now, but there was another story that I saw on, recently about some the so-called eco warriors, but I would more describe them as eco-terrorists, who was displaying and pouring out bottles of urine outside a building as part of a protest recently. I can't remember where it was. But anyway, this kind of behaviour, I can only, is repugnant and disgusting. And there is absolutely no justification for it. Now, for someone like this young lady, and I use the term lady very loosely, to actually allow herself, I mean, I think she's obviously deliberately done it without putting on any kind of disguise or face mask or that. She's done it deliberately out in the open, knowing that she's going to become a public figure on account of doing it, knowing she's going to get her 5 minutes of fame, and knowing that she may very well get arrested because of it. And she's kind of martyrism, in an effort of some kind of martyrism, I think. She's trying to make herself a martyr by performing this stunt. But all she's really done is reveal, just how disgusting and depraved she is capable of behaving. This is not going to do any good for her cause at all. I mean, that's my opinion. I suppose she has a different one. What I just don't understand is where the mentality comes from. But I'll show you another image that might give you an idea. And so here is the same person again, and this is a tweet by, this is at Cold957 on Twitter, and this is a tweet by, this chap is tweeted, and this is a still image from it, a short video of the same person, Maggie Budd, on a particular website, seems to be called sacrificeforsurvival.co.uk. I'm not trying to advertise them. I'm trying to shame them. So, don't give them any clicks on their website to, on my account. And if you can see the image, if you're looking at the video, but I'll just explain if you're listening to the podcast. This is Maddie. She's poured some kind of flammable material on her arm, and she set it alight. And so she set her arm on fire. So that I suppose that the premise here is that she's showing how dedicated she is and the sacrifice she's willing to make in order to, in her mind, save the planet. Now, what this shows to me is a radicalization of environmentalism that is now becoming very, very dangerous in our society and across the Western world, where people are beginning to go to more and more and more extremes in order to try to make their point. And I think a lot of this perhaps might date back to, a certain young lady impressing on people's conscience with the words, "How dare you," shouted out at the United Nations. I don't have words. I don't have words for where this has gone since that. I don't have words for where this has gone. If you're looking at this image, it's something, I can't remember the last time I saw that level of extremism anywhere, except for in actual terrorist activity. And this is what the problem is. How far will these people go? So what I'm going to do now, what we can have a look now is some of, a little bit of information on Wikipedia about some of this, just to have a look. So a definition of the term eco-warrior, because this is what these people see themselves as. They see themselves as being eco-warrior. So if we look at the Wikipedia, information on that, the term eco-warrior is a self-description for an environmental activist that adopts a hands-on effort to save a plot of land. In the UK, it coined the term in the 90s, a label that many people actively taking ecological direction upon resisted for philosophical reasons. Another use of the term refers to an environmental activist who engages in illegal activities, also known as eco-terrorism. Now, if you engage in certain minor illegal activities, that is, that is just in the form of a public protest of some kind, where you're causing a minor inconvenience, that might be one thing, but a level of direct action that is being taken by this person and others like her, has to fall under the banner, if you like, of eco-terrorism. So if we just have a look at, what Wikipedia says about eco-terrorism, then an act of violence which is committed in support of environmental causes against people or property. And so there you have it straight away. That if that is not, if this here is not an act of, eco-terrorism, I don't know what is. Pouring feces over a memorial statue of someone who has become a hero in this country, and not only as a veteran, but also someone who's raised a large amount of money for, charities. I really don't know what this person, Maggie Budd, is trying to achieve, because she certainly isn't achieving anything for the cause. All she's doing is performing a spectacle of disgusting depravity in public and making her look like an extreme fool. And again, in burning her arm, all she is doing is showing just how radical she is and how dangerous she potentially will be in the future. she's been completely radicalized and therefore is a very, very dangerous person who, who we're going to have to watch very, very carefully, along with anyone else like her. And this is the trouble with eco-terrorism and where it's now going. It's really, becoming very, very dangerous indeed. So now, if we just look at some examples of eco-terrorism activities in 2022, according to a web search. All right. And I'm just going to have a quick look down just at some of the headlines. I'm not going to go into all the stories and go into it because I want this podcast to be quite short. I just want to, let you guys have a feel of where I'm really coming from with all of this. And so here's a story, first of all. Eco-terrorist who planted bomb in Edinburgh Park jailed. So on Wednesday, 16th February 2022, the story was, and a self-styled eco-terrorist who planted a viable homemade bomb in a popular public park in central Edinburgh has been jailed. Now, that's exactly where this terrorist belongs, is in jail. If you make an actual bomb and set it off in a public park, you can kill or injure people, and this is just another example of where this is all going. Okay, and I'll just have another little look down. Now, there's a story here, a claim that eco-terrorist wing. I don't get this. I don't get this at all. But let's have a look at this. Where is it? I'm trying to find it again. Right, what are eco-terrorists? I mean, there's another one. It seems to have disappeared from the screen, but I've got it here, but it's disappeared from the screen. An eco-terrorist wing would help peaceful climate activists win, it says here in a particular website claim. So there's academics that appear to be teaching Martin Luther King Jr. succeeded because violent radicals had his back. I mean, it says this twisted historical interpretation appears to be their rationale for violent eco-activism, and so there's even academics suggesting that it's okay to be an eco-terrorist because it will actually help the cause succeed. Now, I don't agree with this. My particular feeling on it is that it's going to achieve the opposite, especially these kind of disgusting acts by Maggie Budd and others who use excrement and urine and all the rest of it for to try and make their point. My feeling is that people are actually going to turn against environmentalism and turn against eco-warriors because of this, because they're going to be so disgusted with the behaviour. And if people start dying and they start committing real acts of terrorism and people's lives are in danger, the general public are just going to be even more against them. They're not going to be for them at all. So I think that's just a completely false and stupid claim. So then there's a list of terrorist incidents in 2022 on Wikipedia. That's not anything to do with it. Let's just skip past that though. Eco-terrorism pros and cons. I don't think there are any pros. Five terrorism trends to watch in 2022. Disinformation operates deliberately further. Okay, so now people are trying to suggest that disinformation is a form of terrorism. Okay, so we'll just kind of go past that. Now, there's another one that I came across, I think. I'm not sure whether I'm going to see it here again now. There's one that says far-left eco-terrorism on the rise in Canada. Radical far-left groups in Canada have perpetrated acts of eco-terrorism, and an anarchist eco-terrorism group in Montreal has taken credit for setting RBC executive Michael Fortier's cars ablaze. And that's another ridiculous act that is a potential in danger to life as well. And I just don't understand where this is coming from. It's absolutely got to stop. We can't be just allowing this to go on. I said at the very beginning that, I do agree that in the basic premise that we should look after the planet and the environment. Most sensible people would do that anyway, but it isn't on for these, far left extreme groups to, become so radicalized that they're willing to perpetrate these kind of heinous, abhorrent crimes. Just to have a look for, just out of interest. So instead, as opposed to eco-terrorist activities in 2022, eco-warrior activities in 2022, another search just in the same kind of thing. And so we've got some, slightly healthier activities that they could be doing instead. Because, I'm all up for people, having a genuine, public protest and things they believe in. I believe in the freedom to protest. I believe in the freedom of demonstration. I believe in freedom of speech. I'm very much an advocate of all of that. And I really believe that when environmentalists want to pursue their cause and make their views known, that they've got an absolute right to do that. And there are safer alternative ways to do that. And so we've got, for example, there's something here, let's have a look here, see if I can find it again. Milton Keynes Council, there's a story here. The Eco Warrior scheme has been designed by the Milton MK Council Environment and Waste team and is available to all MK students and schools free of charge. Each age group has age-appropriate activities to encourage them to recycle more, waste less, and raise awareness of environmental issues. Such as reducing single-use plastics, and not littering. And so there we go. There's something positive that everyone can do, and that students, of different ages can be involving themselves in to make a contribution in their own area. And this particular one comes from the Milton Keynes in the UK, but obviously there are other schemes that other councils and districts have is just something much better to do. Much better to do. Now something else here, we've got 22 eco-warrior ideas in 2022, recycling activities, Earth Day, etc., etc. And so, all you have to do is look down, do a quick search on any search engine like that, and have a look down, and you can see lots and lots of different positive things that we can all do to try to help the environment and help the planet. And obviously, again, if you're listening to this podcast and not seeing the screen that I'm showing in the video version, then you can obviously still do these web searches yourself and have a look for yourself and see where it is that I'm coming from. So really, rather than going down the road of becoming radicalized and perpetrating these kind of actions, do positive actions by yourself, that help you to feel that you're doing your bit to help the environment. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the very beginning of this podcast, I've already said I believe in looking after the environment. I believe in looking after the planet we live in. I just cannot for the life of me understand and fathom the mentality of people who are perpetrating these acts of eco-terrorism. So what I want to do now is let's just go back to Maggie Budd and have a look at the latest on her particular story. And so again, I've got the Mail Online. So they're getting a lot of credit for me today, aren't they? This is a Mail Online. Their story again on the latest on Eco-Zeal ex-medical student 21 who poured bucket of human waste over Captain Tom's statue in abhorrent private jet protest is thrown in jail ahead of sentencing after pleading guilty to criminal damage. So I'll just briefly read out a couple of bits from the headlines and the subtext from this Mail Online article. It says, ex-zealot Maggie Budd, 21, was arrested during protest in London. Budd was seen in video pouring feces over the Captain Sir Tom Moore statue in Hatton, Derbyshire. The former medical student allegedly carried out the act in protest over the use of private jets. Budd was previously arrested last year while protesting with Doctors for Extinction Rebellion, and she was remanded in custody ahead of sentencing due to a substantial risk she would commit another offence. And of course, it has to be said, when you see something like, video footage of this person setting fire to arm to make a point, actually pouring flammable liquid onto her own arm and setting it alight in order to make a point, I really think that, the time has come to take action to resolve the issues of the radicalization of environmental activism. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please share far and wide so others can benefit too, and download the podcast audio so you can listen again whenever you like, wherever you like. You can also subscribe to my channel, view and comment on all vodcast episodes by visiting lairdjohn.com. Thanks for listening to the vodcast of Laird John. I've been your host, John McVey.